You're not losing because you're wrong. You're losing because you've become an open book. Your aspirations, your next steps, your deepest intentions, laid bare for all to see. You've mapped out your mind, and now others traverse it, leaving their imprints on every idea you've ever conceived. The moment they discern your desires, they gain the power to thwart you. Your greatest strength doesn't lie in your actions, but in the illusions you craft, in the mysteries you maintain. If you're predictable, you're controllable. If you're transparent, you're vulnerable. You believe that honesty is noble, that sharing your plans earns respect. But what you fail to see is how that information is weaponized against you. They echo your goals to gain your trust, sabotage your path before you even embark on it, sow seeds of doubt with a mere whisper, preempt your moves and claim them as their own. You didn't falter because you failed. You faltered because someone else reached your destination before you did. When your adversaries know your next move, you've already handed them the tools to dismantle you. You crave recognition, understanding, validation. But here's the harsh truth. Visibility equates to vulnerability, and in the wrong hands your openness becomes your downfall. The most genuine smiles often conceal the sharpest daggers. The more predictable you are, the easier it becomes to orchestrate your demise. Observe the most formidable leaders, the most astute tacticians. They never reveal everything. They speak in riddles, share just enough to be trusted, but never enough to be thwarted. They let others believe they understand them, right before making an unforeseen move. There's a reason the quietest person in the room commands the most attention. There's a reason the one who speaks the least is heard the most. We fear what we can't comprehend and obsess over what we can't predict. Mystery doesn't just make you intriguing, it makes you formidable. When people are unaware of your desires, they can't obstruct your path, they can't manipulate your choices, they begin to question themselves, not you. You transition from being a mere piece on the board to the player orchestrating the game. That's when true power emerges. You divulge your plans, seeking reassurance, validation, approval. But every time you voice your intentions, you relinquish leverage. And if the person you're confiding in isn't wholly committed to your assent, your honesty becomes their ammunition. They'll smile, nod, encourage you, then instill doubt, delay your progress, and quietly achieve what you intended, all while you believed they were allies. They weren't in your corner, they were in your blind spot. The silent strategist doesn't announce, he observes. He sets traps, lets others reveal themselves, and when the moment is ripe, he acts decisively, ruthlessly, without warning. This is the art of stealth. Power, no declarations, no seeking validation, no public promises, only results. Let them witness the outcome, not the process. Let them ponder, how did he achieve that? Not, is he really going to do it? You desire power? Speak less, move silently, and strike as if it was never planned. You don't need to broadcast your endeavors. You don't need to justify your absence. You don't need to share your blueprint to feel less isolated. Let them perceive you as idle, assume you're faltering, mock your silence. Because when the results manifest, there will be nothing to say, only to observe. The silent strategist wouldn't merely advocate this approach. He embodies it. He crafts one of the most perilous political philosophies in history, cloaked behind layers of flattery, performance, and noble pretense. That's how you play the game, not merely surviving, but outthinking, outweighting, and ultimately dominating when least expected. One of the most significant advantages you'll ever possess is being underestimated. The silent strategist understood that it's preferable to be feared than loved, but even better to be doubted until it's too late. If they perceive you as weak, you're free to build undisturbed. If they think you're slow, you'll always be a step ahead. Let them misinterpret your silence as confusion, your calm as inaction, your ambiguity as a lack of direction. Because every moment they believe they've deciphered you is a moment you've already shifted the dynamics. The most potent players in any arena employ one tool religiously: misdirection. Say yes and quietly do no. Say soon and move in silence today. Say nothing and let the tension escalate until you act with overwhelming force. Misdirection isn't deception, it's mastery over perception. And perception is the bedrock of power. If they believe the wrong narrative, they make erroneous moves, and if they err, you triumph without raising your voice. In today's culture that idolizes openness, be transparent, be authentic, showcase your process, the silent strategist would scoff. The more they comprehend your process, the easier it becomes to anticipate your next move, replicate your ideas, hijack your momentum, or subtly sabotage your journey. Transparency is sensible when you're in power. Until then, you're merely distributing weapons. True strategy involves constructing the fortress in silence. And when the gates open, it's already fortified, with moats, soldiers, and insurmountable walls. Silence alone isn't power. What renders it potent is being inscrutable. Anyone can remain silent, but few can make their silence resonate as an unsolvable enigma. To become unreadable, speak in calculated fragments, share thoughts that contradict, alter patterns just when they believe they've understood you, and that's when you've already secured victory before making a single move. Consider those who constantly declare their objectives. I'm going to do this, just watch me. They believe that proclamations build pressure, accountability, attention. But in the silent strategist's playbook, announcements invite interference. Declarations attract sabotage. The vociferous are always the initial targets. Why? Because they've already disclosed their vulnerabilities, their fears, their aspirations. You don't need to defeat the loud, just let them speak and listen. While they clamor, you build discreetly until your results render them obsolete. The most feared individuals exude an aura of ambiguity, not because they conceal, but because even when they articulate, you're never entirely certain of their intent. Are they allies or adversaries? Are they waiting or acting? Did they speak to warn or to mislead? This is the aura you must cultivate. Controlled ambiguity achieves three outcomes. It paralyzes adversaries. They can't strategize against what they don't comprehend. It garners loyalty. People respect what they can't define. It establishes authority. Because individuals follow mystery before they adhere to directives. You don't need to shout, you don't need to persuade, you merely need to instill doubt in everyone but yourself. That's the essence of silent influence. The silent strategist grasped a simple yet lethal truth. The one who speaks least in a room typically holds the reins. Because when you speak, you unveil your values, your fears, your desires, your thresholds. But when you listen, you amass leverage. The most adept manipulators, the most formidable tacticians, the true silent strategists, they don't commandeer conversations, they steer them by uttering almost nothing. They pose one or two questions, then listen, allowing the other person, eager to be heard, to divulge everything. That's when the game commences. Every dialogue is a battle for dominance. The frame is the invisible lens through which both parties perceive who holds the power, what the topic signifies, what the rules are. If they frame the conversation as, "You owe me an answer," they dictate the pace. Let's be candid here, they set the tone. What are you concealing? They compel you to explain. But silent strategists never allow others to define the frame. Instead, they respond with ambiguity, redirect the focus, pose counter-questions, employ silence to reclaim space. They never respond defensively, never seek approval, never react impulsively. They own the frame, and in doing so, they dictate the outcome. Want to discern someone's deepest intentions? Here's how the silent strategist would approach it. He'd allow them just enough leeway to speak, flatter them, make them feel acknowledged, feel secure. He might drop a vague half-truth, not to be candid, but to bait them. Because once someone feels at ease, once they believe you've exhibited vulnerability, they overexpose. They reveal whom they trust, whom they envy, what they desire, what they dread losing most, and all you've done is nod. The more they converse, the more control you acquire. Because now you don't just comprehend their plan, you understand their mindset, and that is irreversible leverage. Strategic players don't inquire, "What are you doing?" They pose questions that induce internal instability. Why did you choose that approach? What made you place your trust in them? Aren't you concerned that might backfire? These aren't genuine questions, they're psychological landmines designed to make the other person reevaluate their confidence, second-guess their motives, expose insecurities, merely to justify themselves. And the moment someone explains themselves to you, they've already conceded your authority. Silent strategists never vie for power, they allow others to unknowingly offer it, simply by responding to the wrong question. Here's one of the oldest strategies in the book. Let your adversaries talk themselves into revealing their weaknesses. You don't need to argue, correct them, or even challenge their viewpoint. Just remain silent, let the silence linger, let them continue explaining, over-rationalizing, repeating themselves. Eventually, they'll start disclosing their uncertainties, their fears, their perceived threats. By the time they realize it, you already know where to strike. This is how the silent strategist plays the long game. He never debates, he gathers intelligence and then executes. The ultimate power play of concealment isn't merely about silence, it's about invisible influence. Silent strategists master the art of influencing decisions without overtly offering advice, making people believe an idea was their own, guiding groups without claiming credit. They don't issue commands, they plant ideas, sow doubt, alter the room's atmosphere merely by their presence. This is influence without ownership, power without exposure. It's the antithesis of seeking validation, it's control through invisibility, the pinnacle of power envisioned by the silent strategist. Most people assume silence signifies a lack of words, but in the silent strategist's playbook, silence indicates possessing too much power to squander on speech. Every word you withhold amplifies pressure. Every extended silence intensifies tension. Every pause compels others to reveal what you already knew. In that quietude, you don't just dominate the moment, you reshape the entire dynamic. The man who speaks competes. The man who listens calculates. The man who waits prevails.